welcome. We're so excited to be here today and with you with a very special show. We've got the leading lady of the moment, Taapsee Pannu, joining us right here in the ET Now studios in conversation about finance, her films, and everything else with none other than Feroz Aziz. Feroz, Taapsee, great to have you with us. I can tell this conversation is going to be electric, given how passionate you both are about your respective industries. So to start off with, Taapsee, you've had a fantastic year. It's amazing to watch you in action and play out these multitude of roles that would otherwise be so unconventional and that people would be apprehensive about taking that risk with. Tell us a few highlights from the year gone by, what stood out to you and how it feels to have actually done these roles so successfully.
Well, to begin with, I never had a choice, because when I started my career here in the Hindi film industry, I started off with a commercial potboiler and it kind of worked, but then there were so many other girls who were doing brilliantly well in this particular genre. So I was like, I don't think there's space enough for me, or there's no one making the calls for me to be in those films anymore. So might as well make my own path, which is going to be harder, tougher, probably it'll take longer, but it'll be pretty strong and stable. At least the base of that path is going to be pretty strong. It's not going to be a fluke.
I think you've definitely proven that, and I can't think of many actresses who've managed to do that, and so early in their careers. The last movie being a prime example.
Yeah, so this year has been actually, I kept saying from the beginning when the year started that this year is going to be a big test for me, because all these roles are so different from each other. All these genres of all the films are different from each other, and if they work, I think I've just pushed my boundary a little bit, pushed the envelope a little bit with 2019. If this works out, I'm going to push it even harder the next year, because I love to experiment. Acting happened by experiment, by just being adventurous with my life. So I want to make the most of it, because I don't even like to visit one destination as a holiday again. So forget about doing the same kind of a role again. So I think that's why all these diverse roles and all these films.
I think the writers and script directors are going to have a task.
Yeah, absolutely. So Taapsee, from what you just said, I think one thing which you said is creating a foundation so that it's not a one-off kind of a benefit. If the foundation is strong, then you know that you're building something for long term, right?
Yes,
anything temporary can be built sooner. So how would you draw parallels with finance? And do you think creating a huge financial foundation before you lay the bricks to create a financial freedom for you and your family, how would you try and derive your learnings from acting into finance?
That's a primary reason one starts working. At least that's what I thought, that I want to be financially independent, especially for females. When I was growing up, my mother used to keep telling me, that should be your first goal in life. Profession can be anything, but you should be financially independent, because I think that gives you the biggest power you can really have to lead a life that you want to. So that was at the top of my head when I wanted to work, that no matter whichever field I went into, I will make sure I'll become financially independent ASAP. And in the beginning itself, I remember when I was in college, that pocket money doesn't work at that point, because you always want to spend more than you're given. And parents keep telling you that you'll know value of money when you'll start earning. And I was like, okay, let me just start earning and see how it is. What's the value? So I started modeling in my college days only so that I can earn my own money and spend it myself. And there onwards, I've been probably the biggest spendthrift in the family. I do spend a lot of money, but at the same time, because I belong to a typical middle class family, I've always been told spend only as much as you can earn. Just don't go overboard. So that has always been there. One aim in life was to not look at the price tag before buying things. But now it's in your blood so much that even if you can, you don't get the heart to spend a lot of money. So I ended up saving from the time I started earning. I slowly took up the responsibility of the fact that I'm going to give my sister also the pocket money that she gets, not going to let the family handle it, just so that I get the sense of the responsibility, the financial responsibility. How it feels to be the bread earner. I wanted to feel that a little early, and then after college, then we started slowly working and earning more money. And then because I'm from science background, I did not really know much about how all these investments happen. And my dad is into finance. He's the finance man of his company. Now he's retired, but he used to be a salaried professional for his company, and he used to be the one deciding where the money is going to go. So he became my finance person also in my life, and then I rarely see money in my account anymore because it's somewhere or the other.
Wow. No, I think it's very inspirational because just this answer had so many messages for women. Like having an aspiration to be independent is where the journey begins.
Yeah.
And then you also said that you had an objective to actually give the pocket money to your sister.
Yeah.
So as soon as you have an objective, then automatically your aspirations get fuel.
Yeah.
And making sure that there is that message that you spend as much as you can earn.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of stuff in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
I remember when I started earning, and I used to ask my father. He keeps a record of all my expenditure as well, right? Embarrassingly, there was a point that even my credit cards bills were linked to his phone number and not mine, which was very embarrassing. And I was like, this cannot happen. This needs to change. Everything else is okay. So, but at that point, I used to ask him, okay, how's it going? Is it fine? And all. He's like, he calculated and he told me, on an average, this much you spend in a month. So if you invest this much amount of money, you can just relax and spend whatever you're spending on an average in a month. And then that became my goal. Okay, let me earn this much amount of money. When that happened, now I'm like, okay, I've earned this much for my monthly expenses. Now what do I need to get more? So then, the investment of getting a house comes in. Okay, now the house has happened. Okay, now I don't want to become the most richest person, is not my ambition, but I should just have a life where I don't really have to look at price tags. That's always been, as a kid, even when I used to go to these small markets, supermarkets, to these the stores where you buy your clothes, that used to be my only aim. I don't want to look at the price tags.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah.
Because I think if all the dads watching, to make their daughters more aspirational, just make sure that the credit cards have their mobile numbers so that they have benchmarks.
That was very embarrassing. That was very bad. Thank God that doesn't happen. In the beginning, he wanted to, after that shift happened with the phone number, he wanted to see all my credit card bills because he keeps a record, and then he wants the service tax to be redeemed and all that. He's like, you need to keep your bills, these things will come under the redemption, this will not come under redemption. And I was like, I can't be getting all the bills for you. So,
wow,
finally, now it's like a little sorted. He doesn't ask for all the bills possible. But yeah, he still tells me, how much to spend from which account, where the interest comes more, where to go, which investment, which mutual funds are you going to invest in, how much money. So there are a lot of these calculations that he keeps telling me every time I visit him, and I'm like, Dad, it's too much for a science brain to handle. but yeah, I will try to do as much as I can.
But if you look at, I think you have an advisor at home, and if all dads behave that way, I won't have a job for sure.
I was just thinking
So I'm glad that other people are not as finance savvy as much as your dad is. But I think to derive learnings from your acting career, I think you have created a lot of diversity, be it in the genres, be it in the roles you have chosen, or the language you have acted in. And I think from a finance perspective, I'm sure your dad would endorse what I'm saying, diversifying your money into different assets actually creates a balance, and that actually creates a good foundation. Do you think you subscribe to the same opinion?
Yes, I do, because that's what's been, again, my advisor tells me that. So he has this whole thing of that, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and you need to do this and that. So it's so diverse that practically I'm losing track of where all it is right now. So thankfully the person who has the control is not losing a track of that. Wow. But yes, there have been, he doesn't invest a lot, everything in one particular thing. So he does have this idea of, okay, this is working. Okay, now this just neutralized because there was a dip in some things and the hike in something, so it just became neutralized. So let's just get on to something else. So so he's pretty up to date. So it never happens like, everything is going in one direction.
Yeah, I think you also touched upon a point where you have to do a concept, and you should not push the envelope too much and not over diversify. In fact, we call it over diversification, that you've spread it so thin that you don't even know where it is.
Well, I will lose track, but as I told you, because he's more in control.
Very nice.
Even though he retired, I think he's on a full-time job right now because he has so much to handle, and not just mine, because I own a wedding planning company which my sister handles. So since the time we got into it, his work almost doubled, because now there is a full-fledged company to maintain and to make the accounts and finance sheets for. So yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk more about that and Taapsee's investments, her knowledge of businesses, her aspirations, as well as her biggest indulgence. All that and more after a very quick break. Welcome back. We're in conversation, Feroz and I, with Taapsee Pannu. Taapsee, you really shared some beautiful insights earlier, and I want to just probe on one of those points a little further. You talked about how important it is for women to be financially independent. I also want to get a sense of how empowering that is, for women out there who've been apprehensive about getting into financial markets, to truly understand why it's important. It's not just about numbers, but there's,
it's so diverse. You can choose and pick what really interests you. It's not like, okay, just because finance is not all about shares. So there are so many other options. I know people do feel a little uncomfortable because, see, coming from science background, I've not really studied accounts and economics and all that. So sometimes when it comes to how shares work, I do get confused. So, but that's not the only thing to invest in. So it's, if you're not okay with certain thing, there are countless other options to get into. But do get into that. It's very empowering and gives you confidence, because then it leads you to live a life where you're not making decisions under the extreme circumstances or a burden of being dependent on someone. You're not taking decisions out of push to the wall to make a certain decision. You have no other way. There are so many times, like as I told you, it was my mother who told me, maybe she would have had a different track or in life if she would have been financially independent. She would have made some other decisions, not the decisions probably she made in her life at different stages, if she was financially independent. And I remember her telling me this quite early in my life, during my school days itself. And so she's a housewife, right? So, but there were so many of these small things coming up for housewives at that point, where they take dealerships of a lot of companies and they start just working from home and helping supply those things. There were a lot of these products and companies which are like making housewives get into their business, and she started doing that, and I used to see her doing that just out of the urge of being financially independent. So she's not answerable, or she's not really trying to depend on someone for her finances and for the finances of the kids also, for that matter. So I think because of that, I ended up making my first ever portfolio, because of the money that my mom, being a housewife, ended up saving from whatever little business that she ended up doing from home. And that, because my dad used to give probably I think in every household there's a fixed budget allotted for everything. So if she couldn't probably take that money out of that budget, because that was for the house. So I ended up getting the savings that she had for quite some time from her little business that she started doing from home, and because of which I got a portfolio made, and I ended up starting this entire journey. So that's how empowering it can be, not just for yourself, but for your family also later on. Because as you say, when a woman gets educated, an entire family gets educated. So it's the same way. When a woman is financially independent, even the kids end up imbibing that and becoming independent. I think I'm an example myself for that.
Fabulous.
So I think when it comes to women, I think there's so much to learn from this episode of wanting to do it, because quite a few women say that it's not interesting enough to capture their attention. But I think there are some subjects which are not a matter of choice, and they're not a matter of interest. At a point in time, it actually falls on your lap, and you'll have to, at a point in time, be on the driver's seat. So till you have the choice to learn it and then do it by yourself, I think it's important that women looking at you, and girls, especially young girls, looking at you, take inspiration and actually learn it, rather than say it's not interesting enough. The second point is, we finance professionals have made it very intimidating for women to get into a shell as soon as we use these technical nomenclatures, far more than needed. That's where the simplicity with which you choose your roles comes into picture. If you can make finance simple, then it'll be appealing as well. Simple is appealing. I think that's my...
You don't get intimidated with all these terminology. I mean, if there's so many times we do a lot of things in life as a barter. Okay, I'll do this because if I do this, I'll get that. That. So just, I think the women who don't really like it, should look at it like that. You enjoy shopping, you enjoy going out and having a good time.
Yeah.
You want to continue doing that for a really long time. Might as well just take this with a difficult that pinch of salt and learn this so that you can enjoy shopping and enjoying going out for a long time.
What's on your wish list currently? Where you don't have to look at the price tag. What is it? What is it?
I've just like, even though this habit is there that I look at things from right to left, the menu from the right to left.
Oh, is it?
No, not anymore though. But there are, I mean, of course, there are things that I wanna get. House investments are probably not the best investment right now where India is concerned.
Sure, and people are moving away from that. There is a trend.
Yeah,
people
there is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's one house that I would really. There's a house that I want to own. I find I do own 2 apartments now in Mumbai, but.
Which is a big deal.
Which is
a very big deal.
Yeah, thanks to all the saving that I could do.
That's an important lesson in itself because you are saving.
Yeah, because I believe every woman should own a piece of property or at least a small or a big apartment. Might not be, people say, okay, it's better to stay on rent probably here and then, just instead of buying because of all the interest rate minus the rent or whatever the calculation you have. But I'd really like to say if you have that house that you're not bothered about, might just go away someday because you might be going through a bad patch at your workplace, and that fear is going to make you do a lot of wrong things and make you take wrong decisions. So for that sake, every woman should at least have one house, apartment or any place that
build their own security.
Yeah, exactly that. So I think that is my kind of a dream home. I do have apartments, but I want to probably, I don't know which part of the country or the world, but
I like that. Go big.
Yeah, I'm not going to restrict myself.
Not at all.
Let's see which part of the world I would want to build that house in.
I think investments being both heart and the mind.
Yeah.
So mathematics says that you might not want to buy the apartment, but it's also the heart which needs to get that emotional comfort that you have a dwelling so that you can spend the rest of your life, and especially for women, for them to feel more powerful and actually feel more confident. I think that becomes an important attribute.
Yeah, that's why the first apartment that I bought, I mean, it was after a couple of investment apartments that I had around Delhi NCR. I ended up buying the first apartment in Mumbai, which was around the time where I was probably, okay, I might have to take a little bit of loan, if not the whole amount. But once I got that, I was like, okay, I have one now.
But that's so brave of you. Like, imagine.
I mean, I remember calling up my manager and asking him the first time I was deciding to take up this apartment, because it was something I had to take the loan for first time ever on my name. So I said, do you think it, and it was quite early in my career that I made that move. So I called him up and I said, do you really think that I should do it? Because it's weird to have a loan on my name first time ever. So he's like, please go ahead. I think we're going to be doing good in the future. So, and that was, I think I was only 1 or 2 years old in the in Hindi film industry at that point when I did that. So I think, I'll go from then, and from then, I think now getting the second one, and the second one came in, it was not, the first one came in, I was like, okay, now no more loans for me. Right now, I'm good with it. But when the second one happened, it was when I knew I've saved enough. And which is going to give me that monthly satisfaction that my dad tells me about. You'll keep getting your monthly expenses with this much of an investment. Now I can indulge. So it was purely an indulgence that I did for the second one. But when I knew that I have that safe investment done for my monthly expenses.
I think like in your latest movie, you are at the age of 60 collecting a pot of gold medals. Do you think your affinity towards the asset class which generally women have, which is gold, is something you want to have at the age of 60? Like, you've already given the real estate opinion, and rightly so, that it's not one of the best places to be. The other physical asset is gold. What's your opinion on it?
But it fluctuates so much. But personally, if you ask me as a woman, I'm not too fascinated with the jewelry side of it. Okay. So if I still have to do it for the investment, there is a certain amount that is there, which has been more or less working in my favor, where the investment of my money is concerned, the gold, so to say. But if you get the woman aspect of it into play, I don't think I'm fascinated with collecting gold or diamonds or any of that for that matter. I think I'm more fascinated with the other investment which is going to give me a safe return in my account every month. I'm more interested in that than in gold and diamonds.
I feel you. I completely feel you.
Yeah, I would rather spend on a lot of other things, and that money is going to come from all those stable investments that are going to be happening. Yeah.
If all are listening, we will not have imports on gold, and I think the economy would actually revive sooner than it should be. I think from a perspective of actually when I am as a financial advisor, when I speak to people, I get this a lot, that there is very little planning which people do. I always wonder, in the movie industry, to play a character for 2-3 hours, there's a good 1 year of planning of a group of people.
Yeah.
To actually live the life, does it deserve more planning than what people actually put in? So I want some inspirational words so that I don't incur this problem in the marketplace, that people don't plan enough. They just go live by the day and transactionally.
See, with with life, you definitely, there's a quotation that might just go against what you are saying. Life is what happens when you're busy making plans. So that might just go against what you're saying. But with where finances are concerned, I think that's something that you should not really go too much by impromptu. It does need a lot of homework as to and watch the trends to how the things have been in the market lately, and try to foresee as much as possible. Contrary to an actor's job in films, where we come in at probably the fag end of planning, because this director and their team who are busy researching and doing the pre-production, an actor probably comes in a few weeks or months before the film is supposed to go on floor, and just when the film is done, you just move out and go to some other film, whereas the entire team, that's direction, production departments, is still with the film till the release, which is going to be another few months of post-production. So there are a lot of pre and post planning that goes on in this job, but from an actor's point of view, we spend the minimal time on a particular project compared to the other departments.
Talking about projects, Tapsee, as we wind up, what should we look forward to going ahead?
What should we look forward to? Yeah, lots. I mean, this year I ended up releasing 4 films. Next year I will at least release 4, can be 5 also, because from what it looks like right now, if all goes well, I might be shooting 6.
Amazing.
So all thanks to the planning. Because most of my films are single schedule films, where I start a film and I finish it in one go. And they are those films which finish in 30 to 45 days max. So I can just finish one film, release one, then go finish the other one, then release the another one. So it's like that. So I've kind of planned it, at least like as of now. But it just keeps happening in its own with its own way. Sometimes it doesn't work according to the plan that you've had in your head, but that's okay. I mean, at least my career, even though not really planned way in advance, has been going fine. So I think don't do that in finance. I will say.
But I think her money is working as hard as she is. So I think both of them are working hard. The money
is working really hard. I mean, that's what gives me confidence experimenting. Because people I remember in the beginning of my career, people used to tell me, don't do an antagonist's part, that will be the end of your career. Okay, don't do a part where there are so many other leading ladies, because you might just be sidelined. These kind of, don't do, why would you want to play a 60-year-old? That might be just the end of your career. People would not want to see you in the young look after that or whatever. I was told all of this, and when you think end of the career, of course you think the end of making money, right? So, but then, because I was like, okay, I think I've made enough that I can live a normal, regular life that I was leading before I entered the film industry. Now it's all about just going out there and enjoying what I'm doing without getting scared of what will I eat.
I think one key learning I've had from her in the last 15-20 minutes is that financial freedom actually gives you the potential of taking right decisions and listen to your heart. If you're not financially free, then you're going to be just doing the math and not acting as per how your life should pan out, and you can listen to the heart far more if you're financially independent. That's motivation enough for all the women and the men to save up, I think so, Tapsee.
Thank you so much.
On that note, thank you so much, Tapsee, for joining us today. It was great, and I think it was really inspiring for both of us.
Thank you so much.
Well, hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Thanks so much for watching.